I promise I did not forget about you guys. But I just saw something, and walking back from the movie theater, I think I have to make this video because someone's got to talk about it. This video is going to be a tad bit different, where I'm not going to really be singling out one movie talking about it. I'm going to be talking about an entire genre. So if you're about it, grab a snack, chillax, hang out with your boy. And if not, that's okay. All right, so I just saw The Backrooms, and walking back, like I said, I felt like I have to make this video. I believe that we are in a genuine horror movie renaissance, but I don't think people are stopping and realizing how crazy this horror run in theaters has actually been. So today, I wanted to just sit and talk about why horror movies are dominating the scene, where it comes from historically, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on 3 films: Obsession, Passenger, and The Backrooms, which literally just came out today. So don't tell me I'm a fake fan, bro. I'm an AMC Stubs member, don't mess with me. First, we're gonna talk about the stats. Okay, so in 2025, the entire genre of horror counted for 17% of North American box office sales. 17%. Up from 4% just a decade ago. That's not a small shift. Horror used to be the genre that studios just greenlit when they needed a cheap win. And now it's carrying a significant chunk of the industry. Let me turn my light on, hold on. This is not good. Here we go. So why do studios keep making horror movies? Well, the equation for them is easy, and the math works almost better than anything in Hollywood right now. You can make a horror movie for about $1 million and opening week walk out with about 10 million. I mean, let's just look at the Saw franchise. For Saw 6? Y'all weren't bored yet? Meanwhile, every superhero movie needs $250,000 just to maybe even break even. But then again, so much goes into those. 6 horror films crossed 50 million domestically in 2024. The number of horror productions has jumped 21% from 2023 to 2024. Now here's what's interesting, because we have been here before. Let's go back to the late 70s and the early 80s. Halloween comes out in 1978. John Carpenter made for $300,000, grossed 40 million. Pardon me, he actually grossed 70 million worldwide. That film basically invented the slasher genre and proved that horror is not a fake genre. Friday the 13th, maybe you've heard of this small Sundance film, drops a few years later, 1980, made for 550,000. Gross 60 million. Jason becomes like a cultural icon, like he's still at like Halloween Horror Nights. He's like on the come on. He's the GOAT. You know what I mean? He's the GOAT of horror. And if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below so I can flame your ass. 1984, sound familiar? Yep, Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's start messing with people's heads. Let's get psychological in this bit. My point is, everybody knows these characters, right? Everybody has a poster. Come on. That era of horror was driven by the same thing that's driving the industry right now. But here's one major key difference between then and now. The 80s slasher wave was mostly about the formula. It was about teenagers. The only thing that really changed was who was under the mask. It kind of messed with people's heads and played with their inner fears. We got to see in 1980 stories come to life on the big screen.
We come to this place to laugh.
But what's happening right now is something very different. The films are getting better. The directors are more ambitious, the films are more complicated, and the audience is more sophisticated. Because we've been consuming online horror stuff for years. And I know the difference between something actually scary and something lazy. For example, Get Out 2017. Jordan Peele won crazy awards for that because it wasn't just a horror movie, it was a take on social commentary, which is crazy to mix the two, but he cracked the code. And after one person does it, you have Ari Aster's, Robert Eggers, Osgood Parkins. Directors finally started taking this genre seriously, and the entire industry fully shifted. So yes, we've had horror booms before, but I do think this one has more range. Okay, some of the movies. First one, Obsession. So Obsession was directed by Curry Barker and is in theaters now. It has been for about 2 weeks and is sitting at a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. 97% on Rotten Tomatoes from a movie directed by a YouTuber. He made this film for under $1 million. Under $1 million. It actually premiered first at TIFF, if you don't know what that is. There you go. And this sparked a bidding war between A24, Focus Productions, and Neon, I think was the other one. And Focus Features then won it for $14 million. That is the horror movie business model working exactly as intended. Now, this horror movie does have some scares and jumps in it, and it's frightening. I covered my eyes a few times, maybe, but it was deeper than just a horror movie. It talked about someone's deepest insecurities that I think a lot of people related to. I did really enjoy how this movie took a new approach to like jump scares, I guess, because while there were some that were kind of predictable, there was some weird like body horror stuff with like quick movements and like off camera, like just off-putting things that are new and creative. But they're new and creative. You know what I'm saying? All right, enough about that. Let's talk about Passenger. So this movie came out May 22nd and was directed by Andre Overdahl. I think it's Swedish. I don't know. This is the guy behind Troll Hunter and the Autopsy of Jane Doe, if you're familiar. So basically, premise is people are driving a van, see an accident, keep driving, realize something's in the van with them. Tight horror, right? It's enclosed. As the movie kind of went, though, it did kind of lose some steam for me. But again, it's a decent movie. I think you should check it out. Dare I say it's better than half the Saw movies, even though it's not like a gore movie. I'm just not a fan of Saw. Okay, here we go. Here's why we're all tuned into this video. The Backrooms. So if you don't know the backstory, in 2022, a 16-year-old kid named Kane Parsons taught himself Blender, and he started to make short films about the Backrooms based off of his prior knowledge on YouTube. Anyways, yeah, this is based off of a creepypasta story, basically just an idea of infinite spaces, just continuing and continuing. And the whole idea is that it's kind of based to look like an old office building with like nobody. Liminal space really is what the scare was there. So Kane Parsons' series about the Backrooms that he made in Blender since he was 16 years old became super popular, and you should check them out if you haven't. They're pretty cool. And this got him the attention of some pretty interesting people. James Wan, Osgood Perkins, Sean Levy, they all saw it, and then they came to him. Kane Parsons is now 20 years old, and he just made his debut as the youngest director in an A24 film. So, and this movie, man, out of the three, this is the top one for me. This is a fantastic movie. It's weird. It's just weird. It's goofy. The camera angles are long. There's an actual story that goes to it. I would never find myself in this situation, nor am I going to have nightmares about it, but I would watch it over and over again because it is actually a good film just in the horror genre. Definitely check it out. I'm probably gonna go see it again, and maybe I'll make a review on just that. It's gonna get a 10. It's gonna get a 10. That movie rocks. When John Carpenter made Halloween in 1978, he kind of proved to the world that he could scare an entire generation with not a lot of money, but a really good, new, fresh idea. And when the slasher genre was born, it didn't really create anything new, it just followed the formula of the greats before it. What's different about this current wave is that I feel like the craft is back. We have directors who actually care about what they're making, and we have an audience like myself built on years of internet horror stories and short form stuff and weird whatever. And now we have a pipeline of talent that is completely outside of Hollywood, which I think is also pretty cool. Like I said, Kane Parsons started on YouTube at 16 years old, and Curry Barker also started on YouTube. I mean, Markiplier directed Iron Lung. And I think these people truly have spent years in the field understanding what scares people. Again, I wasn't around in prehistoric times, but in 1980, you had to know somebody. You had to go to film school to direct a movie. Now you need a camera and internet connection. Horror has always been the genre that reflects what people are afraid of culturally. And right now I think people are afraid of a lot of things. Infinite directionless spaces, technology, the paranormal, wishes that go wrong, things that follow you that you can't see or name. This genre is finally tapping directly into that, and audiences are now responding. And the fact that these three movies came out a little bit after a month from each other is pretty impressive. All right, guys, that's it. I feel like I just gave like a presentation in class, but let me know what you think. What's your favorite horror movie within the past 5 years? Thank you so much for sitting through this. I know it was a little bit of a long one. I have a lot of editing to do here, but thanks so much. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. I promise I'll be back. Promise.